Dearest podcast with Simone and Olivia Knego, making the world a better place one conversation at a time. Mom Simone and daughter Olivia share authentic discussions about everything under the sun, including those things you might be thinking about but feel uncomfortable talking about. Thanks for tuning in. Now here are your hosts, Simone and Olivia.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Daughter Dearest podcast. I'm Simone Knego.
And I'm Olivia Knego. And today we have two guests joining us. So first, the founder of CSJ, a leading style company for high-performing female entrepreneurs and other women who simply want to look and feel their best. Jessica Papineau has spent over 25 years in the fashion industry, teaching women how to use fashion to serve their purpose, boost their confidence, and elevate their image. Jessica styled hundreds of women, from moms struggling to dress their postpartum bodies to businesswomen seeking to level up their careers to seven-figure entrepreneurs and professionals in the entertainment, sports, and music industries. With the goal of helping women imagine more from themselves, break free from what's holding them back, and show the world who they truly are, Jessica is committed to empowering women to elevate their style, transform their careers, and relationships and lives.
And we also have Sydney Bryant with us. Sydney is passionate about building client relationships and driving client success. She streamlines daily operations and connects clients to the styling process through private styling sessions and online content. She's worked with internationally recognized brands, including Coach, and leverages her cosmetology background to help clients feel beautiful and empowered through all aspects of their brand and appearance. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Hi. Thank you for making us sound so great.
You guys are great. We don't have to make you sound great. You are great and you look great. So look at that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So, Jessica, I want to start by asking you about what a stylist does. I'm sure people have these preconceived notions like, oh, a stylist, oh, she does hair and makeup. What is she, what do you do as a stylist, and what inspired you to start your business?
Well, stylist to me is, I really haven't been too thoughtful about what other stylists are doing, simply because I saw a need with the woman that truly desires to be the best version of herself and wants to feel beautiful in her clothes every day. And that doesn't mean that she's a celebrity, which we may have these ideas that, celebrities or, people that are, in the political world or whatever it is, that they have stylists. But the normal woman can also have a stylist. So what we do is we help high-performing women to not only elevate their style, but to transform their careers, relationships, and lives. And we do that from going from the outside in and really helping women to curate a wardrobe that not only aligns with their lifestyle and their goals and where they see their life headed, but also that aligns with who they truly authentically are, so that they can, before she starts her day, she can look in the mirror and feel beautiful and feel like the best version of who she is and step into that power and truly allow that authentic self to shine through every day.
I think that our brands align very well because I talk about confidence from the inside out, and you talk about it from the outside in, and they completely match each other, right? It's such an important piece to have. And I've realized that about myself. Trust me, I am the woman who would choose to wear leggings every day. And okay, that's not real life. And so guess what? Guess who I went to see to help me? Jessica, help dress me, please. And you do feel like a completely different person when you wear clothes that compliment you. It's not clothes that someone else might wear, but it's the clothes that you feel good about yourself in. For example, I never wear dresses. I now own like 6 of them, maybe 7 of them that Jessica picked out. So it really, having someone there to kind of show you and help you I think kind of changes everything, because I would never go into a store and pick a dress off the rack because I'd be like, oh, that's going to look horrible on me. But she is able to see, like, before it even goes on my body, that that's going to be the right thing for Simone, which is such a cool skill to have.
I think a big part of it is, Simone, is, well, my superpower is my imagination. So I can really, when someone is speaking to me, and I try not to do this all the time. It's just part of who I am. But when someone is speaking to me, or I see someone, or you're telling me, Simone, like, I can't wear a dress, I am automatically envisioning you in the dress that reflects who you are. Because in fashion, there's so much confusion for women out there. It's like social media coming at us all the time. There's Pinterest. Women are saying to themselves, who am I in fashion? Like, what is my style? What should I be wearing? And really, there's this exterior, like, it's coming at them from all directions, and they don't really know where they fit in to that. And so when I say I'm going from the outside in, what I mean by that, and the process and the formula that I use, and this is from like 25 years of experience, is what I've learned. The way to really discover your style and what you should be putting on your body really has to do with going internally first, and really taking that pause and that moment to really think about what you desire. Many women, a lot of us don't ever give ourselves permission to really go there. And I'm working with the high performing woman, whether she's a stay at home mom, high performer, or she's, in business, a high level executive, a female entrepreneur. She really wants to be the best version of who she is and all aspects of her life, but she doesn't always take that pause to think about what she really wants, because she's looking outside of herself to see how she can perform better. But when I hold this space with her using my formula, and we really review and reflect on her life first and what she desires, and then I have her, when she actually tells me the truth, because usually, we don't really, as women, really think about what we want, and we give this automatic response of what we think we should say. And so I expect that. So when I ask her, what do you really desire? Where do you see yourself? What do you want? Usually the first thing is like very quick. She'll say it really fast. Like, I want to get a promotion in my job and be the sales manager, or whatever it may be. And then I'll say, well, tell me a little bit about, not anything to do with necessarily what you're doing now, but if you could create your own life of something you really want, what does that look like? And it's just so interesting, because I've done this so many times that it's like, once she finally settles in, I can see, like, there's this pause and she thinks about it, and she'll say something kind of quietly, like, like, I know, Simone, you've written a book. Well, you may not have thought however many years ago that you would have ever written a book, but you took the pause and you thought, wow, I think I really want to write a book. So people say things like this, and then I make them lean into it. And then I make them tell me where they are in this moment that they're describing, and what does it look like. And I literally close my eyes and imagine them where they desire to be. And then I see them, and I see what they're wearing. And that is where it all begins, with discovering your style and your fashion and what you really, want to be putting on your body. It really has to do with stepping into that woman that you were designed to be, and that you're now becoming, because we've started the process.
And we align very much there as well, because one of the big things that's part of my method, my real method, is asking yourself what you want. Because I think I agree that as women, we just kind of go through our lives just doing what we think we should be doing, instead of ever standing there and saying, okay, what do I want to be doing? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be with? And I think it's such an important part of what every woman should be thinking about is, what do we really want?
Like, and I do think, Simone, that, and you touched on it a little bit of, what we should be doing, because we're, not only do we want to be successful, in business and, what we're doing in our careers or whatever, but we want to be the best mom we can be. We want to be, a good wife to our husband. And sometimes when we are continuously thinking about what we want for others and we neglect ourselves, we're really not being the best for others. So like, I think it's so amazing that you have this podcast with Olivia, because it's like, your kids are watching you. Like, your children like to see you succeed or like to see you happy, and it makes them realize what they can be and what they can truly, that they can do anything when they see their mom, stepping into her power and trying all these things like climbing Kilimanjaro. Like, Olivia, how was that to know that your mom did that?
I mean, truly incredible. I was just recently having a conversation with someone about this, and it's like, yeah, my mom climbed a literal mountain, but also that's so impressive. But also what I also find impressive about like styling and fashion in general is like, you came in I came home from college one day to find like not leggings in my mom's closet. And that in itself was, because I love clothes. I'm a fashion minor. My plans for the rest of the day are not as gross as my mom's, but mine consists of, I have to make a costume for my fashion class or for my art class. So I have to go do that for the rest of the day. But I've always been on this like wavelength of how much fashion can impact you. And I even remember in high school, Mom, you telling me one day or one week, I was just having a terrible week. I was in a bad mood. And I was the kind of kid in high school that I would do a full face of makeup every single day. And I would put a full outfit on every single day. And that week, I didn't do any of that because I was in such a bad mood. And like the last day, my mom like goes, you just need to put your makeup on and you'll feel better. And you put your outfit on and you do your hair, and you do, because it gives you this persona to act as, and it becomes your reality. So Sydney, I'm curious about what you do in this business. And how you guys got into this business relationship in general.
So when I first met Jess, well, I guess not when I first met her, but before I met Jess, I was a hairdresser.
Okay.
And I was considering leaving the salon I was at, and I was like, I don't know if I want to continue doing hair. I don't know. And then we had a mutual connection that also worked at the salon with me, and she says, I know this really awesome lady, you should meet her. And I was like, I don't know. And eventually I did reach out, and I met Jess, and I started working with her, and I started as her assistant. And now it's been over 2 years that I've been at CSJ, and it's kind of evolved into a lot more. I do all of our social media content. I work with a lot of the clients with Jess. I wear a lot of hats, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly what I do for CSJ, but I would say the biggest thing really is like our content and all of our media that we put out there.
Can I piggyback off what she does?
Of course, yeah.
So Sydney is correct. She wears a lot of hats, and she's come such a long way, because since Sydney started, she came in so green of like not being necessarily in the world that I'm in, but she understood color, and she understood customer service, and she understood, how to build relationships, because she had been in businesses where she had done that in the past. But she really, paid attention to all the different aspects of the business, and educated herself when she wasn't even at work. She'd go home and like check out new lines, and she's a little modest, so I'm just going to build her up a little bit more.
I knew that's what was happening there.
But today she is like, she's my person. I mean, I'm not, as a creative, as being the founder, I constantly have this like bird's eye view of all the moving parts of what's happening, of where the company is going. I'm so forward thinking and creative and doing my imagining all my clients and these outfits and planning, and Sydney has she's got me on the back end. Like, she always knows what the schedule is, where I need to be. We'll be 2 seconds before me going on a podcast, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where are the lights? Where, do I have lipstick on? All the things. Plus, she's the community director. So she ensures that all of our clients are having an amazing experience at all times, that I'm not missing anything. That all the little details, because it's all about the details. It's all about relationships, and we offer a concierge service, so we better not miss anything.
Totally. So I think we touched on this a little bit, but I would like to hear from both of you guys. Why do you think it's important to align your style with your authenticity and lifestyle?
Do you want me to let you answer this?
I can go. Yeah.
Okay, you go.
I think that it's important because when you look at someone, the first thing you see is the outside. So I think the way you present yourself, it says everything about you. If you're showing up in something that doesn't align with who you are, that's going to be someone's first impression of you. And that might not be the first impression that you want to give. So it's always important, no matter where you are, to always show up as your best. Wear your best outfit. Even if you're going to the grocery store, wear your best athleisure outfit. Or if you're going to an event, a BBG event, wear your best BBG event outfit. There's an outfit for everything. And I think that a lot of people miss that. You don't always have to be dressed to the nines, but you can feel your best in athleisure, in anything really. But you just have to make sure that it aligns with your lifestyle and it's good quality, and it makes you feel good.
Just to piggyback off of that real quick, I am such a big believer that there's an outfit for every occasion, because everyone is always like, why is your closet so big? Well, I'm not going to wear a ball gown to dress every day, but I'm going to need a fancy dress for whatever dinner I'm going to in a couple of months. Because and then every time you get rid of your clothes, you're like, oh, well, I shouldn't have gotten rid of that. I need that for now.
But it's also, I think, and Jessica's really good about this, is that looking at your closet and making sure you have the right pieces that you can mix and match, so that you don't have to have 50,000 outfits. Although, hey, that's good for business. But to have stuff that you can have a few things that you can turn into all these different outfits. And that's what I loved about it, because I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to that kind of stuff. Other than sneakers, I really like sneakers. I would have different, like fancy sneakers. But in terms of actual clothes, I think that I love how you do things, and that you really try to help clients, first of all, figure out who they are. And for me, that was so important, because I am a big jeans person, but you can make jeans look really nice, right? I mean, you can wear jeans on stage when I speak. I can wear jeans. Like, there's so much you can do with things. And I think sometimes we have these ideas in our head, well, you can't wear that here because that's not fancy enough, but it's what you do with it, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And one thing you brought up, Simone, and I know you had asked me this question when we first started talking today, but you asked me why I started the company, or how it all came about. And the biggest reason why I started this company was because, well, number one, because there's so much confusion for women around shopping and around what they should be wearing. But also, I had been in retail for so many years. So I had seen, for over the course of, 20 years, women going into stores and buying on emotion and just buying a bunch of stuff that they thought, okay, well, I like it, or I see it on the mannequin, so it must be great. I'll just, I'll buy that, and not realizing that there is a strategy to it. And that you can, if you have a plan when you're shopping and you really hone in on what those core quality pieces are that align with your lifestyle, all the different aspects of your lifestyle, but that are really great quality, that the fit and the fabric is such that it lays on the body in the right way, that these are core basics. And I also, one of the biggest things that I learned, because the problem that I solve actually for women is the feeling of unworthiness. And many women, it doesn't matter her age, her size, what season of life she's in. I find that women have a hard time feeling that they are worth spending money on, number one, on themselves, but investing in really great quality pieces that are classic. Because, a white t-shirt is a white t-shirt. Why would I spend money on a white t-shirt? But really, feeling that she is worthy, or you're worthy of getting those pieces that are really nice quality. Because when you have that strategy and you have those core basics, you can build off of that. You don't need to recreate your wardrobe every season. You have a base to work off of. And then strategically adding in, the great details like, rewarding yourself and getting a great pair of designer sneakers that you can then sprinkle in. But then the strategy of like, once you've been very intentional about the choices that you've made, putting the outfits together. And that really is where we come in. And it's difficult, it's been difficult up until this point, in that we're working one-on-one with women and offering so much value one-on-one, and really teaching women how to do this for themselves and like guiding them along the way. But we are so excited. I know we're going to announce this at the end, but we're creating a community in the coming months. We anticipated on rolling it out in January, but in the coming months, on a larger scale and a big platform, really showing women how to curate their wardrobes and how to set their wardrobe up for success, and how to plan so that you can get up every morning and save the time and feel great about yourself, or wear your best outfit on a Monday and do all these things, daily. And then, we're going to have a community of women that, will get to participate even in what we're doing on this platform, as well as having a digital course of, 25 years of all the work that I've done, compiled into, a step-by-step framework of how we can really hone in and align our wardrobes with our life, and stop feeling confused by everything else that we're seeing out there for fashion.
I would love to. Oh, sorry, Mom.
No, go.
I would love to get both of you guys' thoughts on trends, especially like the concept of micro trends that we're seeing right now, and if you think they have a place in wardrobes.
Well, I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is that they see trends, because there's a lot of unknown with fashion, right? If you are not interested in fashion, but you want to look good, there's a lot of unknown. And it's hard to go and find. You can't just search up on the internet. It's not that easy. Sometimes you need help, but with trends, people try to base, I think a lot of people see trends and they want to just buy the newest trends, when really that trend might not work for them. And I think you can use trends in your wardrobe, and you can pick what you like from them and add them in to, every season, spice up your wardrobe, or add in a few new things, and do it that way, instead of basing, I need all the newest trends. Because you don't. You just need a core wardrobe, and then you need to add those things in. And then, you might have a couple new shirts, but you can still pair them back with those jeans that you had. So I think using them as like a building block of your wardrobe.
Because the trends, they're fleeting, right?
Yeah.
They call it fast fashion for a reason. It's like, it's here today, gone tomorrow, right? Not for everything. I mean, gosh, skinny jeans, and they are still in, by the way, but they've been here a long
Always be
time.
in. People that argue against skinny jeans don't understand the practicality of skinny jeans. And I love a wide leg jean, but the skinny jeans will always be they'll always be a staple.
Absolutely.
I feel like they're really flattering. So I
don't. That's what I kind of struggled with. So I was really, really, and I still love fashion, but moving to New York, and that was one of the biggest reasons I actually moved to New York, was to pursue the fashion industry and doing marketing in it. But I ended up really struggling because of the toxicity, especially in the New York City fashion scene. So I think I love that you're able to incorporate fashion, which is something that's not necessarily seen, at least in the area that I'm in, as authentic or even just like good for the well-being, and making it authentic. I think it's so important.
Sydney and I go to New York. We'd like to go more than once a year, but
Yeah.
we've only been able to go once a year, and we scout out new lines, and we go to, all the showrooms, and, place our orders, and we get to see all these like amazing trends that are like, we're buying like 6 months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And fashion is fun, and it can be a lot of fun when you know what you're doing. And so
Yeah.
when we're buying, for example, and buying is not an easy thing. It's not, we're going like from one showroom to the next, and we're trying to figure out in our minds, okay, well, we ordered this at the last showroom for fall, and what can we sprinkle in with this brand to complement that? And there's a lot of strategy
Mm-hmm.
involved in this. But we're also being super mindful when we buy in New York. Like, we want to try these new fun trends, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we buy, even for our curated lines, is we have our core basics. We have one of our t-shirt lines is called Majestic. And it's this like buttery fabric. It's, it's like this. Are you wearing the t-shirt today, by the way, Simone?
It's not
One
the
of
majestic one. It's the other one. I don't
the
remember
gray
which.
state or something. Okay, so the Majestic t-shirt, like, we go into the Majestic showroom, and it's all basics. And
Mm-hmm.
we're like curating the basics. So we get all the colors down, and we figure out, what we're going to build off of. And then we go to the other showrooms, and it's like, okay, let's sprinkle in the trend. And that's going to go with the core basics that we just got at Majestic. And it's a lot of fun. And once our clients really start to understand the process, because there's a lot of teaching that we're doing, we're supporting
Mm-hmm.
them along the way. And this is why clients that we have, it's not like they do a one appointment and it's like one and done. They have a new wardrobe, see you later. It's like we support them and teach them along the way. And then they actually start to have fun with it. And they're like, or they'll ask us, like, do you think I could try that trend? So they start to be like a little curious too, and want to try something new. So like Sydney said, we'll just sprinkle in a couple little
Mm-hmm.
things, when we're reimagining their wardrobe for the next season. And it works because we're not getting all trend.
What I think is really interesting is looking at fashion. Again, someone that was not so into fashion for a very long time, but looking at how so many things come back around, right? When
Mm-hmm.
everyone's like, get rid of that. I'm like, oh, I think it's going to come back.
It's cyclical.
I was up in Tampa, and the woman who was standing in front of me was wearing leg warmers. And I was thinking, really? Really? But she was, and she was like rocking them, And I was like, okay. Same thing with neon. Like, there's these bits and pieces that you see come back, and it's so interesting. And you're right, it's cyclical, but it's just an interesting thing to watch. And you see sometimes why people hold on to their closets for so long, and they're afraid to get rid of stuff. But guess what? If it comes back, you can buy it again.
Thank you for saying that, Simone. Because when we hang on to things and we think, oh, okay, well, it's going to come back into fashion, when it comes back, it's better than it was.
Yeah. 100%.
It's not the same. Fabrics are constantly evolving, and fabric is everything. And when we hang on to things in our wardrobe that we think we're going to wear one day, it really is a metaphor for our lives. Like, it keeps us in the past. And like I was saying, we're helping that high performing woman that wants more for herself. When she has things in her wardrobe that are past, or maybe she thinks, well, I'll fit into that once I lose the weight, or whatever it may be, she's holding herself back from her future self. And so that is really one of the things that, we work with our clients on when we're in that beginning stage, when we do, first walk in their wardrobe, whether it be virtually or in person, and really teach them what needs to be eliminated. it was just making me think, Simone, when you, because you love your skinny jeans, and we got you a pair of wide. You're like, I'm not wearing the wide leg jeans. Like, that is just not happening. I'm not doing it. And then you got a pair of wide leg jeans.
And I've gotten so many compliments every time I wear it. And they look fancy. Like, I look fancy when I wear those, you know? So, but I do like my skinny jeans.
Well, not only do you look fancy, you feel fancy. And I will say, really, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but in everything that you have accomplished, Simone, and, your message of sharing your authenticity and really being who you are so that you can share your gifts with other people and inspire them to really truly be live into their purpose and allow who they are to shine through unapologetically. Mm-hmm. But in watching you, really hone in on your personal brand and grow your brand so much and get this influence and reach amongst other women, I have noticed in as far as the fashion piece, and really you've invested in yourself with our services. And I see it, how it, to me, when I see you, it's deepened your message. And because I see that you feel pretty. Like, I don't know if you saw how pretty you are.
So it's interesting because I am someone that struggled to accept a compliment for years. This was part of my rehab, was really understanding when someone gives you a compliment that they mean it, and the right response is thank you. It's not, oh my gosh, I look fat in that outfit, or no, that color is not good, or my hair looks frizzy. My hair is always frizzy. I like it that way, things that I've learned to really love about myself. And part of that is the fashion piece. But let me tell a little story, because I think this also is very important for women to hear. There were many times in my life I have gone up in weight, gone down in weight. And when I was at my highest, I used to buy cheap clothes because I thought that, first of all, I wasn't going to look good in anything, which is so far from the truth, right? But that, why waste money? I'm going to lose weight. Instead of like really taking care of myself in the moment. And that's something I'd really like you guys to talk about, because I feel like women who do struggle with weight feel like it doesn't matter what they buy, they're not going to look good. And that is, again, so far from the truth. So I'd really love you to talk about that piece.
Yeah, I think, and I appreciate you telling that story, Simone, of not feeling like you were, worthy of putting on, nice clothes when you were at that weight. I mean, Sydney and I have many stories of working with women that felt that very same way. I'm thinking of a story in particular because I think it would be really representative of what you're talking about, and really, help your listeners to like. I think a lot of people will resonate with this story. So this woman reaches out to me, and she said she had been following us for about a year, which is actually typical of when people reach out. They usually wait a long time.
Wow.
And we find out that has a lot to do with this intimidation or not feeling worthy of investing in yourself. So it's not just about weight, but that is one of the things. This woman reached out and she said, I've been watching, your content, and I've, even heard some of the stories of other women that you've worked with. And I haven't been investing in my wardrobe over the last 5 years because I gained a lot of weight and I didn't think anything would look good on me, number one. And number two, I wanted to lose the weight so badly. And I thought, in doing all these different diets and things, that I would reward myself with you once I lost the weight. And I haven't lost the weight. She said all the, for the last 5 years, because she had the means, she could spend the money. She was investing in handbags and shoes, but the clothes she was putting on her body, she was just using to hide her body. And so she said, I feel like I've been like brought to my knees. Like I really am so unhappy at this point. And I have such a good family. I'm in such a good place in my life, but I'm not truly enjoying my life because I don't feel pretty. I don't feel good about myself. I was thin my whole life, and now I'm like going through menopause and this has happened. So we started to work with her. She bought a whole new wardrobe. She said, I know I need to do this, but she was so uncomfortable. And that's part of the process. Like, she felt uncomfortable because we were putting even fitted clothes on her that actually fit her. And we were showing her how to highlight the best areas of herself, because she was looking in the mirror and her eye was going right to the areas of her body that she was shameful of. And, a lot of women, when they're going through the, menopause, things settle in the midsection. And so their eye just goes like straight there. And so she said, I know I need to do this. I'm just going to let you do your thing. But that whole appointment, I still felt a heaviness. She bought the new wardrobe. She bought the clothes that looked great on her. She was beautiful. And Sydney and I left that day, and I felt sad because I felt like she didn't really step into it. And we got on a call a week later, a Zoom call, because she was in Tampa, I believe. And I said, so how are you feeling? How's it going? And she started bawling. And she said, Jessica, I know that I wasn't I didn't seem like I enjoyed the process. She said, but it was because I had to reveal my body. And she said, I did exactly what you told me. And I've been wearing the outfits that are showing my body. She said the first couple times I felt so uncomfortable. I felt like people were looking at me. And then I realized they were looking at me. And she said, it was because I looked so good. And I started getting compliments wherever I went. And she said, instead of feeling like I wanted to cover all the things, I started to step into what you had put together for me. And, because Sydney actually created every photo, she had her whole lookbook of new outfits. And so I was telling her she had to show up and wear them every day. She said, it's taken me a week of doing this. And I wish that I would have done this a year ago. And then since then, she's lost weight, and she didn't change anything. She changed nothing, but she started to really feel good in her clothes and feel pretty. And she revealed herself. And this is not easy stuff. One of the things I really encourage my clients to do, and this is really the last kind of pillar or frame part of our framework that we use. And I say, you need to get up, you need to suit up, and you need to show up every single day, whether it's comfortable in the beginning or it's not. Because once you do that over and over again, eventually it starts to become just part of your routine. And because you start to feel beautiful as you feel revealed, that's when that true authenticity comes through. And we stop feeling like we need to hide, or we need to be smaller than, or we need to be quiet and make ourselves smaller. As women, we deserve to take up space in a room. We deserve to be revealed and seen.
I agree
Yes,
with
we
everything
do.
you just said.
Yes, we do.
I think the idea of two things, that when we look in the mirror, we go first to the things that we don't like. And I also talk about respecting your reflection and loving the woman in the mirror, because we're all different. There is not one person that looks in the mirror and thinks, oh, I love every single thing, right? I mean, but when we focus on the things that we don't like, it's hard to even see the things, the other parts. And that's why I think it's so important that we focus on all of our great qualities and just let those things be pushed to the side, because otherwise we're going to be unhappy all of the time. And for me, it was a big struggle. I mean, really, the idea of putting myself out there and feeling like I was worthy of having nice clothes when I felt like I was failing because I gained weight, or however I was at the moment. And it's interesting, you said that she invested in handbags and shoes. And I think that's where my love of designer sneakers came from, because that would be the only thing that I would buy for myself, because I didn't feel like buying clothes was the right thing, because I felt like no matter what I would do. And part of it is when I would go into a store and I already felt uncomfortable in my skin, the last thing I wanted to do was to ask for help, right?
Mhm.
So I would just grab some stuff. And what I also would do, I would do the TJ Maxx, I would do Marshalls, I would do all the things that, that I would say that I'm not going to spend that much money on myself, but I do need something for this. And so it never fit right. It never looked right. And then I felt worse. So
Yeah.
ladies, love the body you're in and really go out there and
Treat
do the thing
yourself
for
nicely.
yourself.
I think that's
Yeah.
such a common misconception of how much the quality of clothing can literally affect the way it sits on your body. Like fast fashion, these Shein, these Forever 21 dresses, they're not going to look as good as investing in a piece of clothing. It's just how it works.
I think it's really hard for women to recognize the power that clothes have until they're finally in clothes that make them feel good. So that's why we always encourage them to just take the leap, because you don't know until you've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because most women have never experienced it. We had this one woman that came to our studio. Gosh, I don't know, it was maybe like 6 months ago, and she was 75 years old, and she was the woman that was hiding her body and had on the long top and didn't want to show her stomach, and she never would wear, jeans that fit her right because she didn't think her body was nice. And we simply, Sydney and I took, I think it was maybe even just 30 minutes of our time. She didn't have a long time with us. And we put on like a pair of skinny jeans on this woman and a t-shirt, tucked it in, gave her a belt. And it was all great fabrics. Like the rise of the jeans was high, and it had that lycra. It was like lifting and smoothing. And she, for the first time, like we saw her face in the mirror, and her eyes filled with tears, and she looked over at me, and tears started pouring down her face, and she said, "I have never felt pretty until today."
Aww.
And she was 75 years old, and she had never experienced it. And so, like Sydney just said, like, there is a transformative power in investing in yourself and putting like really great pieces on your body. And you talked, Olivia, about, doing these fast fashion or these, cheaper clothes from Forever 21 or whatever. And it's like, I find in women's closets is when they're doing that, there's a lot of it. Like a huge amount of it. Because it's almost like they're trying to like find the perfect thing and nothing's working. And then they're spending so much, they don't even realize in a year how much money they've spent on clothes, when in reality, if they were even, someone that is just starting out, a younger girl, she's in, starting out in her career, and she doesn't have huge funds to be, investing. But if she just saves her money, a little bit of money over the course of a couple months, instead of going to Forever 21 or Shein or all the things, and then she has a little bit, go and get a few great pieces. And we teach women how to do this, and we have our curated lines here in the studio where we help people to make those very strategic decisions so that they are spending their money on the right things and not just having a closet full of clothes with nothing to wear that makes them feel good,
Yeah.
I want to jump back real quick to the story you were telling about the 75-year-old woman, because one thing I also want the listeners to realize is that there is nothing superficial about buying nice clothes, right? I think that there's this misconception of, oh, that person, look at how she dresses, she's superficial. It really is about matching your outside to your inside. I mean, that's how I feel about it. And so I'd love for you to, what are your thoughts?
I think, just like you said, Simone, and I won't get into my whole childhood because we could be here all day long, but I did grow up thinking that I was superficial because I loved fashion and beauty. And, I grew up, I mean, I'm sure you know about this, that I didn't have electricity. My family was like, live off the grid, live off the land. And, I had always felt like the odd one out in my family, because I loved to take, actually then, I mean, my my parents did not spend money on clothes. My clothes were from the Salvation Army, and it wasn't when it was like cool to do the thrift shopping. I mean, it was pretty bad, but I love to like make outfits out of my clothes and like mix and match them and look in the mirror and pretend I was at all these parties and I felt beautiful and it was fun, but I felt shameful of loving that. My parents didn't really approve of it. But then over the years that I've been in this business and watching how when a woman feels beautiful, how her confidence elevates. And when her confidence elevates, she can kind of like, it's almost like she gets over herself, like gets over like those negative thoughts, the self-limiting beliefs, all the things. And she sees herself. And when she feels beautiful and her confidence elevates, she steps into her power and allows all of the who she is, her gifts, to be shared with others. And I believe that everyone is put here with a purpose. Everyone is put here with the ability to impact. And I think when we're stuck in self or when we don't feel good about ourselves, we don't allow ourselves to step into that woman that we were really put here to be. And what feels better than impacting and transforming other people's lives? So it's so far from superficial. In fact, it's beyond that. It's better than that. It's more than that. It's really important. We are all worthy of feeling beautiful and feeling, great in our own skin so that we can make a big difference and an impact and influence in the world. Much like, what you're doing, Simone, speaking on stages and, sharing your message with, every woman. And you are just like everybody else, we're all the same. We're all, deserving. And, I love that you put your authenticity out there and share with others and inspire others to be the best version of themselves. But, really every woman is deserving of feeling beautiful. I truly believe that.
So that's going to lead into my next question, because we all struggle, right? There's not one person on this planet that doesn't have some sort of struggle. So we talk often when we do our podcasts by ourselves. We talk often about even what we're struggling with that day, and it's all over the board, but we've all had big struggles. And so I'd love to hear from you guys. What has been your biggest struggle? Because obviously we talk about self-doubt a lot and overcoming self-doubt, the importance of confidence, building it from the inside out, from the outside in, all of it together, how important that confidence is. So what has been the biggest struggle that you both have had and have either overcome or are working on it? Obviously, a lot of things are a work in progress. For me, the self-doubt piece, there's always going to be that voice inside my head, but I've learned how to deal with that voice inside my head. So as soon as I hear it, spiking up there, I'm able to close it. So, I'm curious if you guys would tell me what you think you have struggled with.
Do you want me to go first or you go first?
I can go.
You go. I know. Yeah.
So I think something I've always struggled with. So I grew up in a military family. I moved around every 3 years, like clockwork. So I think I always struggled with knowing my place. I could adapt really well and I could adapt to whatever environment I was in, but I didn't always feel like that was where I belonged because I was always somewhere new. I was always around different people, and I from a very young age, always found comfort in making myself feel pretty. From elementary school, middle school, high school, I would wake up 2 hours before school, put my makeup on, put my outfit on. And even if at the time it didn't look good, I thought it did. And I felt like it did. And even at the time, if I didn't know my place, I felt like I looked good. And I was like, well, at least I look like I belong here, and over time I've used that to find my place and find how I can help people in the world. And I think really that's what we're just trying to do too, is help people find their place and use fashion to do that.
Love that.
Yep.
I know Olivia totally resonated with
Yeah.
what you just
100%. But like I was the girl on like doing my full face of makeup on the bus every morning because it just
Oh,
added
the eyebrows,
Yeah.
and everything. Just,
Yeah,
just
I mean,
tossing it all
I
on.
recognize it didn't look good at the time. I have that like self-reflection to know my eyebrows were probably a little bit too dark. However, at the
It's
time,
okay.
it like gave me the confidence that freshman year in high school did not have.
Well, at the time, no one could tell you about your eyebrows because you loved them.
Yeah. Well, they tried. I remember mom, you being like, maybe that's a little too dark. It was the trend at the time though. It was.
Yeah.
2016 was the eyebrow trends. So
2016 was a rough year for the makeup girls.
yeah. But I think just like that extra element, I completely agree of just dressing up helps you find your place. And now that I'm in college, the way I dress has helped me attract my friends in some ways because it's been like, oh, I really like the outfit you're wearing today. And then we connect over that. And then it's just like commonalities from there.
The importance of a compliment and accepting a compliment, right? So when someone says something to you, you never know where that's going to go, what friendships you're going to make. It's so important that we just don't blow those things off, that we really understand that it's personal. The person is, if a person's going out of their way to say something, then it's a connection right there. And life is all about connections.
I have a good friend, and I try to take something away from everybody I talk to, but one of the biggest messages I've taken away from our friendship is that she will just always say a compliment regardless of who it's to. So we'll be walking down the streets of New York and she will just like scream across the street at this girl like, I love your outfit. And I try to like take that idea and be like, yeah, like if I'm walking past someone on the street, I should compliment them because you don't know what their day is like. That could literally just change their entire mood. And I've been in the position where I hate what I'm wearing. I don't like think I look good in it. And then you have that one compliment from the one stranger that's like, that is in a fantastic outfit, and it changes your entire day.
It does. It's that paying it forward too. I was on a podcast recently, and this woman was telling me that she was walking down the street and she walked by this woman, and this woman was so gorgeous, like dressed to the nines, totally beautiful. And she gave her the up and down look, not because she was judging her, but because she was like, oh my gosh, this woman is so beautiful. And she kept walking, and then she turned around and she went back to the woman and said, I know what you're thinking. Like, I didn't mean to give you that look. What I meant to do was give you a compliment. I just wasn't sure how to say it without being kind of creepy. But she's like, you are so beautiful. You will look amazing in that dress. And the woman started tearing up and said, you know what? I really appreciate that. My husband just left me, and I'm trying to figure out like what I'm doing, where I belong. And she's like, that just really lifted my day. And again, it was what she was wearing made her feel good about herself.
Yeah.
And then hearing that from someone else kind of just confirmed that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I thought that was a great story when she
I
told
love
that. I was like, oh.
Sometimes we just need a little reinforcement.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Women, taking that time to lift one another up.
Yes.
Taking that pause, getting out of self when you're walking down the street and actually looking and seeing somebody else.
Yeah.
And what they may be going through. It changes the course of your own day.
100%. It's changing your mindset from envy to like unity. And I hate the idea of like jealousy among girls because womanhood and being a woman is so fantastic. And just like having this community by your side that like we'll be at the club and you'll just go up to a girl and you become instant best friends with her. And like that's what I find so beautiful about female friendships. And it's just that easy to make someone stay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you want to hear my challenge? It's a big one.
I want to hear your challenge.
There's many.
Oh, welcome to the club.
I put myself in situations every day that make me feel just a little uncomfortable so that I truly believe that really is the way to experience the most joy in life is to stretch yourself. And, and I'm going to say a quote here. You never will know your limits until you push yourself past them. So I've had so many self-limiting beliefs. I still do about myself. But when I have a self-limiting belief about something, it's an indication to me that I need to try out what I think I can't do or what I don't feel I would be good at. And it's a way to, because once we try things and once we just go ahead and do them messy, that really life is all about taking action. That is the biggest thing. And my biggest struggle in my life has been the exact thing that I help other women do. And I've had feelings of unworthiness, and I still do. And not only that, with that feeling of unworthiness comes this feeling of I don't deserve to be seen. And when I'm stretching myself, so now that we're creating, a larger platform, and I'm speaking on, podcasts, we're going to be on, doing webinars and things that I never thought I was going to be doing. And it's bringing me back to the feeling that I had as a child of be quiet, be small, don't take up space in the room. What you have to say doesn't matter. You're superficial. And these messages are coming up for me again. And I'm feeling them. And I wasn't feeling this before I started speaking. I was like, I'm good. We go through therapy in our lives and I'm a strong, powerful woman. But I do believe we can be strong. We can be powerful. We can be high performers, but still struggle with these feelings. And when we have them, it's not an indicator to stop. It's an indicator to keep taking that next step forward. And I'll tell a really short story because I know I can go on and on and on, and she's going to reel me in a second here. But recently I was having this struggle with doing a keynote. And, I have one not polished and I wasn't ready, but I did it anyway and spoke to women in this mastermind. I said yes to it before I had even written the keynote.
Which is the best way to do it, because then you got to do it.
And then Sydney set me all up. We had the slides, the whole bit. And I mean, that morning I'm like, I'm shaking. I'm such a mess. And I feel like I'm not going to be able to get the words out. I'm sure you know that feeling and speaking on stages. And so I get on, and Sydney had showed me just all you do to get to the next slide. You just click the button, and I've got the slides mixed up. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to go with this. So I went through my whole keynote that I did with my 2 pillars and the whole bit, and told my stories. And I felt at the time like I wasn't doing a great job, but I was just going for it. I was leaning in, I was stepping in, I stumbled on a few words. My slides were a complete disaster. That's a whole other story. But by the end of it, so I did, and I was right on time. I did my 60 minutes, and then it was 30 minutes of Q&A. Once it got to the Q&A, I couldn't believe how much these women loved my speech. Like, they loved it. And in my mind, I hadn't done a great job because I don't even know if I'm a recovering perfectionist. It's beyond. But they loved it, and they were asking me questions, and and I didn't even realize they had been taking notes, and they were telling me which things they liked the best about my speech. And then after, because I always watch myself back. I watched myself back, and I determined what I wouldn't do the next time. And I probably didn't even need the slides, to be honest with you. But I didn't realize they were also making comments in the chat at the same time. And I have terrible eyes. When I was speaking, I didn't see it. And there were things like, I'm crying right now. Oh my gosh, the story she just told, that something like that happened to me. And I was watching it back. Oh no, I'm going to choke. I was watching it back, and I started crying because in my mind, I didn't think that I could accomplish it. I didn't think I could do it. And I did it anyway. And I did it really messy. And I had how many women now? We have 3 of the 5 women that were watching live, because they're watching back now. But out of the 5, 3 of them immediately set up calls with me, like within the first 15 minutes
Wow.
of the webinar being done. And we've done calls. I've done calls with these ladies, and I didn't work on selling them anything. They just said, "Can I please be your client?" And
Love
so
that.
it just goes to show you that when you have a challenge, never to not move past it or lean into it, but to keep going, because on the other side of that, if you don't try it, you'll never experience that joy, and you'll never be able to impact on a large level. Like, I didn't realize I impacted these women. I didn't know their stories. One of them has 3 children, has a 10-month-old baby, and she's going through a divorce. She has a full-time job, but she has the desire to own a farm and have other people come and show them how to farm and live off the land.
That's awesome.
But she said it inspired her to keep going, because she has days where she just feels alone in those feelings that she's having.
Yeah. So my core message is do the things you think you can't. And that's where I think our growth comes from. It's in those struggles and embracing our failures, embracing our mistakes. Again, recovering perfectionist, but there's no such thing as perfect, right? So when I think what I've found with women is when we're giving a speech and we stumble or we mess up our slides or whatever, that's not a bad thing, because we're all human, right? And I actually think it makes the connection deeper, because you're then seeing that someone else who is now on stage, wait, if they're making a mistake, then it's okay if I make a mistake too. So I do think that there's that connection piece. I'm not saying that I want to, fall down on stage, but because that would be exciting. But I do think that when we do the things that we think we can't, that's when we really grow. And so I'm really big on jumping in and convincing my kids. What do I say to you all the time about asking someone something?
The worst thing that someone can say is no.
Yes, thank you. And I think that's such an important thing for us as women to say, like, if we don't put ourselves out there, we will never know, with the KNOW, no. So, and if the worst that someone says is no, and most of the time people want to help you, right? Like, so when you're doing something, and I love the fact that you jumped into that presentation without having the speech written, because it does show us what we're capable of when we actually, even when I'm talking about making my new website, the recommendation was you need to do a mastermind or a class. So you're just going to put it on there. And when you get enough responses for it, you're going to build it. And I was like, okay, that's a funny way of doing it, but okay, sure, I can do that. So yeah, so it's great. I mean, I think that there's so much that we do as women, and supporting each other and putting ourselves out there. And you talk about authenticity all the time. And I do think that is such an important piece, is that if we're trying to be someone else, we can't help anybody else. But if we're ourselves, we can help other people.
And it's what's interesting, and one of the things that I've learned is that it's typically it's the like little quirky things about you, the unique things that make you you, that people really love. And when we hold back from sharing them, no one gets to experience that.
Yeah, I find that you're so right. It's funny, the questions that people ask me, they want to know, like, of course, about my kids, having 6 kids, like, what? And they want to know the things that were really difficult. They want to know the struggles. They want to understand them, because again, I think it connects us. It makes us feel like we're not alone in our struggles, right? I mean, we never know what anybody else is going through. We can't walk in their shoes. So, but when we share our stories, we can inspire them to realize what they're capable of. So with that, we're almost at the end. I would tell you that we could ask I have like
Always.
10 more questions, but I really want to talk about where people can find you. I want to really touch more on the new program that you have coming up and really tell people. You mentioned something before that I would love for you to explain to the audience, because you mentioned the word what did you say, style book, the how
Lookbook.
y-
The
the
Lookbook.
lookbook,
lookbook.
the
Yeah.
lookbook. So because I'm sure people are like, what does that mean? So I'd love for you to just kind of give a whole overview of what you do, what you have coming up, and then how people can reach you.
So we have been, I mean, gosh, it's been a wild ride. The company is now 5 years old, which I can't even begin to imagine that. But, we've just really leaned into and let things kind of organically grow into this. We work one-on-one. Currently, we're just working one-on-one with women, either virtually or in person. And, when we do that, we're doing the whole process. So part of it, we always start with a free styling call.
Mm-hmm.
And really that's an opportunity to get to know the other person, get to know their needs, kind of share a little bit with them about what it is that we do. But I would say the biggest thing on that call is, well, just discovering if it's the right fit, but also getting to know, I try to get there really quickly with knowing what they desire and who,
Mm-hmm.
the goals that they have, so that we can really, once we begin working together, give the most value with the time that we have together. And so we do virtually, we, do style boxes for our clients. So once they send us, some photos of what they're currently wearing, most people are only wearing about 15% of what they own, if that.
Yeah.
And so they send us like their rotation of outfits that they wear that are usually like around 5 or 6. And, the accessories that they have, and anything that they have coming up. And then we formulate their style box and create a lookbook for so even for our virtual people, we put together the clothes that we see are missing from their wardrobe, and then begin creating a layout of the outfits. So say they have a couple of really great, black pants and a black blazer and maybe a pair of jeans. We'll do some stand-in pieces that we have here in our inventory as, while we're doing the photos, but we'll lay out the pant with the top, with the handbag and the jacket and the whole bit. And then we'll do another photo and we'll use maybe the same pair of pants and we'll match it with a different top. And when we're doing this, we're creating outfits that align with their life. And then we send them a style box. They get to open their box and we share their lookbook with them. That's what the lookbook is. And then, typically for that client that is out of town, we're doing like a 3-month period of time that we work with them. And we do a call once a month and we source out, different outfits for them, plan their outfits for their trips, their everyday life. We do a lot of image consulting. So we will even help them, align their outfits, what they have on for what they're wearing on their website, that sort of thing. And then for our in-person, we do it very similar to that. We'll go into their wardrobe, extract from their wardrobe what's working for them that aligns with their lifestyle. And we wheel in a bunch of our inventory and create outfits in this lookbook, like you're talking about. And we could have anywhere from like 30 outfits to 100 outfits in one appointment.
I think the most we've ever done is over 200.
We did.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
My God. And Sydney's making
well, that would be me.
And yeah, so Sydney is laying them out and making the lookbook while I'm styling her. And so she doesn't try on as many outfits. So she doesn't try on all those outfits. She doesn't try as many outfits as we get for the lookbook, because once we know it's working with a certain outfit, then we can mix it and match it in the photos for the lookbook.
Because we don't want to leave you with all of these clothes and you still don't know how to put them together, So once you have the lookbook, you can just open it and say, well, I have a lunch today. What kind of outfit matches for this lunch? And then it's right there and there's really no thought put into it, but you feel amazing.
And so that's what we've been doing for, quite some time now, but where things are headed. So there's this realization, like, we want to make an impact on all women or,
Mhm.
many women, and we can only help so many one-on-one. So we're actually creating our own app. And within the app will be a community where it'll be much like, like a Facebook private community, that kind of thing. So it'll be women that are very, with aligned thinking, the high performing woman that really wants to be the best version of in all areas. And we'll be doing live webinars, Q&As. We'll bring in guest expert speakers to really, not just talk about fashion and how we can help in that way, but, bring in other women like yourself, Simone, that can do some teaching on, authenticity and mindset and business and all the things that our woman really wants to know about. We also have a digital course that will be housed within this app. That's really how to edit your wardrobe, how to set it up for success, step by step. And this is all my years of doing what I've been doing compiled into one course. And then we'll give ongoing support within our community. We'll have the ability to communicate with people through the app. And
there's going to be a ton of like fashion resources. So we have like a packing toolkit. So, if we're not able to help you and plan out your outfits, you can go onto that packing toolkit and say, okay, what do I absolutely need for this type of trip? And it's right there at their fingertips. So tons of stuff like that.
There's so much, and it's going to organically evolve. We're really all about constantly improving, constantly refining. And it's important to us what women really want, what resonates with them, what areas in fashion or in their lives do they really need that support. And so we'll have a platform where we can do that. And it's a 3-tiered system. Right. We have sapphire.
We have sapphire, emerald, and diamond. So right on brand for us.
So we always offer our free styling call. We have a wait list right now for our membership program. And that list is getting long. We can only put so many people in the very beginning, just as we build this out. But anyone that has interest in anything that we do or really just wants to know where to begin on their journey and just doesn't know where to start, there's a couple things they can do. Number one, please request a free styling call with us, and we will take that time. It's a 45-minute call. We get to know you a little bit about your needs and really meet you where you are. And now we can truly do that with our new membership program that we have set up, whether it be you just want to do it for yourself, do it with us, or you want the hands-on, we can still offer that as well. So I guess you'll probably have the link here for the free styling call. And then we have a lot of free resources as well. So on our website, Sydney just put up our spring lookbook. So you can go on and opt in for that. It's really good. So you better all get in there.
And
we also have we have the wardrobe edit blueprint on the website as well. So that's just like kind of like a DIY version of the course that will be within the app. But you can go on the website and download it, and it'll take you through step by step how to edit out the pieces in your wardrobe that are no longer serving you.
I love that.
And follow us on all our platforms. This girl beside me, she does an exceptional job at putting out just amazing content that reflects the brand, but also gives some really great, like tactical, actionable steps that people can take right now in their wardrobes and really, there's offering so much value.
And tell us your website. I mean, it's going to be in the show notes, but what's your website?
We made it. We have a new website name. It's a lot easier. CSJstyling.com.
Great. And Instagram, what's the best place on social media?
Oh, I would assume what she's going to say. Instagram is at CSJ Styling.
No.
The Instagram is at the Jessica Papineau. And anyone listening, if you comment the word lookbook on any of our posts, you will get the newest spring lookbook right to your DMs.
Love. Awesome.
But we're on all the platforms.
Yeah, you guys TikTokers? Have you gotten there yet?
We mostly use Instagram and Facebook, but we post on TikTok, but our loves are Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
And then we do have LinkedIn. We're dabbling in LinkedIn.
Oh.
We thought it might be a little boring, I'll be honest.
Yeah. No, I'm on the
We're
wavelength.
trying to bring this like fashionable excitement to LinkedIn right now.
Yeah, there we go.
I love that. I think that's awesome. Since she unfortunately is having internet connections, I think I will wrap up today and end on my quote. Also, all of the links to everything of Jessica and Sydney's will be in the show notes, so please check there, along with my mom's real method and her daily affirmations. And today's Unfuck Yourself quote is, "You're never ever acting upon life itself. What you're acting upon is your opinion of life. That's why it's such a different experience for each of us."
I love that.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It was so amazing to meet both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
It's our pleasure.
I hope to
Thank
see
you
you
We'll have
soon.
to come
so
back.
much.
Yes.
We want to have both of you on our app platform too.
I would love that.
Experts. We need a mom and daughter. I love the two of you together.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode of the Daughter Dearest podcast. Like I said before, all links and such will be in the show notes, and we hope to see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Daughter Dearest podcast with Simone and Olivia Knego. We hope this episode has made your day just a little bit brighter and given you the inspiration you need to confidently go about your week. Always remember to be authentically you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to connect with them on Instagram at Daughter Dearest Podcast, at Simone Knego, and at Olivia Knego. Till next time.